Greetings to the best family on YouTube. Well, in our opinion at least, our EDC family. I'm your host, Prophet, and with me as always is the Professor. And we thank you for joining us for yet another EDC video. We actually do have a special little bit of content for you folks today with a special guest. My mom is here in studio with me at the compound, and we're going to have a little game about pricing for knives and what that means. And I'll segue into it a little bit like this. So Professor and I got to chatting after our 100 subscriber giveaway. By the way, I look forward to getting some opening videos or pictures from the winners. I did get some of those shipped out yesterday. And as we get those, we will share them with you, EDC family. So our little channel is growing faster than it used to, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you, for every follow, every like, and for every new subscriber we get. God bless you. We thank you so very much. Okay, EDC family, this was our little idea after the giveaway. We thought, let's kind of do a little bit of something different. Most of the knives that we've been showing on our channel have been knives that are from my personal collection. Now, as you've all noticed, and a lot of you have commented, these knives, and as I've mentioned before, there are many, but for the most part, again, because they've been privately collected and used by me, the pricing and the style really reflects my personal tastes. And unfortunately, as my mom would tell you, as I was growing up, she called me, what was it, Mom? Papa Moneybags or something? Father Moneybags or something? You don't remember any of this?
No, I don't.
She doesn't remember any of it. Of course not, right? So anytime I'd buy some new tech or a new phone, she'd have this name that she'd always call me, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. If we do remember, we'll pop it back on there. But I think what we can do is my mom can confirm that I always have had a problem with overspending and collecting. Does that sound about right, Mom?
Absolutely.
So what was some of the earliest things that you remember me collecting? Anything? Now, I can promise you, folks at home, my mom does not have Alzheimer's. She has many children, and so I would imagine that this is kind of being difficult for her.
Yes.
Maybe coins?
Just a bit. Yes, coins.
There we go. We'll stop with coins. We're gonna go with coins, folks. And again, my mom's very nervous to be on the internet, so let's not give her a hard time, Chad. Would you say that I have a collecting type of personality?
Absolutely, you do.
Wonderful. That's something we can agree on. I love that.
Yes, we
can we say that maybe sometimes it might be a little bit of a problem?
Yes.
I wish I could remember that name. At any rate, it doesn't matter. If we do remember, we'll have Professor pop that in the video. So what we're going to do for you folks today is we went to Menards and we purchased 3 knives. Now, I'm not going to say what the price that we paid for these right now is because we're going to include these in today's video. Let's just say we went to Menards and we had a budget in mind. We wanted to spend under this budget and get one of their best pocket knives that's a folding knife, a mid-grade folding knife, and a low-grade folding knife. So we know that Menards isn't primarily considered a knife store, but the reason we chose it is because a lot of you have Menards in your state. Let's just say that my normal puns that I do in every video are not going to be done here because my mother is here. But we'll just say I had a lot written for Menards. We wanted to purchase 3 knives, again. So in that budget, 1 higher end, 1 middle tier, 1 lower tier, we were able to hit our goal, but again, we'll talk about that later in the video. So while I'm talking, I'm sure Professor is going to be kind of going back and forth with some of these extra clip that he has of us in Menards. While you're looking at some of that, we are going to do something fun, and we've never really used the Professor's portal to go back in time. We usually use it to go forward in time, right? To help our subscribers get to the carryorbury game. But we're going to see if this works. Let's see if this works. Now, I know that the grandfather paradox is definitely something we need to consider, so we will keep that in mind. I think them's the rules. Jump on into Professor's Portal.
A few days ago.
Where's the knife? Straight. Left or right? Right? Left? As Professor sets these up for you folks, as you can see again, we have the Guidesman. Our Gerber Fuse, which is going to be coming in at our and the Buck Hexam Assist for we are going to see what the difference is between these three. It is time to check out. Hold. All right, or do whatever. It's totally up to you. Have a wonderful day. Were we getting a lot of looks?
Oh yeah.
I wasn't even looking.
It's probably okay until we checked out.
Back to today.
Now, I'm not sure if it's just me, but Mom, don't you think that portal travel went pretty smoothly?
Yes, I do.
So, welcome back. Can you say welcome back to the folks?
Welcome back, everyone.
I love it. Now, I sure hope you got to enjoy some clips from our shopping experience. I will show you the receipt later in the video after we played the little game with my mom, as I'm not sure, what we're going to do or how we're going to get into it. However, let's kind of move on from that. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the knives in front of you. I'm going to lay them out with some other knives, and we're going to talk a little bit about difference in pricing later with my mom. But then what we're going to do is have her handle the knives and tell you what she thinks. For pricing, we'll put them kind of in a row. So what we'll do here is let's get this out of the way for a second. Sorry about that. We're going to just get a quick clip of that Menards guy here. Okay. We are going to lay out the 1, the 2, and oops, I got the receipt here. I got to be careful not to let my mom see that. We have the 3 knives. We'll go camera by camera. We have the Gerber Fuse. Okay, we have the Buck 262 Hexam Assist. We have the Buck 262 Hexam Assist. And finally, we have the Guidesman Essential Suppressor, okay, or the Suppressor 2 TM. I don't know if that's trademark or if that's what they're trying to say. We're going to open these with the Milwaukee Fastback box cutter. So why don't we go ahead and carefully open these on camera. I don't want to my mom's a nurse, so what I don't want to do is cut wrong with her sitting here, and it's always, oh, look at that, it's not even necessary. We are officially opening the Essentials Suppressor 2 from Guidesman. All right, we got that open. Let's get that little guy out of there. I will get that oil stain off the table there. And we're just going to kind of give it an open and close real quick. This is a frame lock, as you can see. All right, very interesting. It's going to have a really different pocket clip. Normally we have right hand tip up, and this is going to be right hand tip down. Very different style from what you normally see. Doesn't look like the clip can be arranged anywhere else. You do have a lanyard hole here. Right there. All right, folks. So this again, I love it. It may have a break-in period. I'm not quite sure, but there we go. We got her to open there. It's a very tight feel. There's no way I'm going to get to open it with the flipper tab here. But with the thumb stud, it deploys pretty well with a little bit of a wrist flick. We're going to go ahead and close that up and place that here for a moment. We are going to move on to the Gerber Fuse. Okay, I'm kind of excited for this. How does this one open? Same way, maybe all of Menards knives have a nice way to open. I see on here a bit of... Now kids, if you are getting knives at home and you're opening them, get your parents' permission, obviously. You should not be handling sharp pieces of metal without an adult's permission and or supervision. So please don't try this at home. As you can see, even as an adult, I am struggling. My goodness. Now, Mom, as a nurse, are you a little nervous with me doing all this?
A little bit.
I can tell. Let's see that. Look at that. All right, folks, we've got another little fancy plastic deal here so you don't get stabbed. Have what appears to be some instructions here. All right, we'll put those aside for a moment. Now, this is different. What does this button do? That's the pivot. Okay, so this little guy does only thumb stud opening, has some pretty aggressive jimping here. It has a very unique pivot, most likely so the pivot screw isn't turning, and to give it a little aesthetic look as well. You've also got an inlay, which appears to be some sort of copper or metal. It's really hard to see. And finally, the locking mechanism is going to be inside here. So look at that. All right, so that's our first look on the Gerber. What we're going to do is get rid of some of this trash for a few moments here, and let's get into the Buck 262 Hexam Assist. Okay, again, this is fun, Mom. You know, I was going to have you do the openings, but I tell you what, you probably don't want to get on camera for the first time opening a knife, right?
The struggle is real.
So, Mom, let me ask you a couple questions here. As a nurse with knives, as a medical professional
Correct.
with knives, let's see here. Oh my goodness, Mom, I tell you what. As a medical professional, do you see a lot of knife issues in the hospital?
Yes, we do.
Can you...
Knives, saws, yes.
Oh, saws too, holy cow. I don't want to get in any trouble or anything like that, so what I will ask is can you share, not sharing a person's name or whatever,
Yeah.
Can you share maybe something that you've seen that will kind of give our viewers a story on one?
Well, we just see a lot of people that don't handle them correctly, and they end up either stabbing theirself in the hand or sometimes even taking off a finger.
Interesting. Now, with what she just said, again, we can't reiterate safety on this stuff, folks, which is why this knife is perfect to segue into. This Buck that we just opened here, which again is going to be named the Buck Hexam Assist. It is an assisted opening knife, and what that means is that the inertia from you moving the tab here, or the flipper tab, is not going to send the blade out. As you can see, I am pushing the tab and I'm getting nothing. What you have to do is pull down this safety release button here and hold it down. While that's being held down, then you can touch the flipper tab and the knife will open, but it also opens a lot faster because it's assisted by springs. So I don't know if I'll be able to show it on camera here, but there are some springs in the pivot area of the knife which are going to be under pressure, and when that pressure is released, the knife is going to spring open. And you can kind of see that this way as well. As I'm trying to close it, the knife is giving me a lot of resistance until I pass that spring or spring bar area. I haven't taken this one apart, so I'm not sure if it's a spring bar or a spring. And then finally, the detent will suck it in, and you're nice and safe. The blade's not going to come out. Even if you're holding this button down on accident, let's say it's in your pocket and you're holding the button down, it is not going to come out unless you also contact the flipper tab. Nice little feature that Buck did on this knife. So we've got those 3 knives from our trip to Menards here. Again, we'll go over pricing on those a little bit later. But for now, we're going to kind of leave that out so we can do some more fun stuff with my mom here. Now, whenever we're thinking about how are we going to do these pricing videos and what we're going to end up doing, I thought one of the fun ways with my mom here is we would include the knife that got me into higher grade knives. This here is the Ferrum Forge. that I first purchased back in the day, and forgive me, I don't have the name coming to my mind, so I will have Professor put that on the screen somewhere. But this was my first ever purchase as a, more than a $200 knife at the time, and everyone around me thought I was crazy. But this knife has served me extremely well for many, many years, and Ferrum Forge has since gone on to do wonderful things, and they're now a force in the knife world, the knife community. So we're gonna add this guy in. So, and I kind of accidentally gave my mom a clue on that, but we're gonna add it in anyway. We are also gonna use Professor's personal knife that he's been carrying. This is a 0 tolerance knife, okay? And this one is a Rexford design. I don't know what the actual name is of it. And I believe if I'm not mistaken, 0 tolerance actually uses model numbers. But this is a USA made LMAX blade, okay? And it might be the 0801 might be the design, but it is a Rexford design, titanium frame lock, okay? So we'll put that there. We're just gonna kind of mix some stuff up here. Let's add some more things. We are gonna add, oh, I don't know. Let's see here, Mom, is there one that you'd like me to put on the table next here?
That one?
Ooh, very good choice. We've got another beautiful knife here. And again, folks, this is kind of on a whim, so we're gonna have to put the names of the knife in the video after on a lot of these. This little guy here is, I can't remember for the life of me what this was, but I will, and it's sad because I've carried this knife a lot. It has a Damasteel blade, and for those of you who don't know, and we'll talk about this later, Damasteel is a trademark of Damascus that is of stainless properties. And again, we will talk about that a little bit later. We're also going to add a integral frame lock. What does an integral frame lock mean? Or an integral knife? It means that the knife is not sandwiched together by 2 pieces of titanium. It is actually milled out of one solid piece of titanium, which obviously takes for a lot of time, a lot of expertise, some really amazing tools to get in there and to chamfer and to do what they're doing. But it is one piece of titanium with one screw set that geniusly kind of goes into the pivot area there. You can see there's a little extension on there. So this knife actually cannot be taken apart, and if you do take it apart, it's literally just right here. So that's an integral lock. We've got our Damasteel area here. Let's add a little bit of Timascus, right? Timascus. So Timascus is just the trademark name for Mokutai, okay? And it is basically forge welded titanium. And it really, you should have Windex around when you're shining this stuff up, folks, so I apologize. Well, it's not gonna do a lot of good, Mom, unfortunately. It's Windex is the one secret to make that shiny. We'll just put it there for now. I'll grab some in a minute. Then another thing that can be done with knives is you can have completely design them in a really unique way with PVD or Cerakote coating, anodizing various pieces, using glow-in-the-dark pieces, and having actual nice artwork actually hand put on a knife like you see in this bug out. So we're going to pop that in. Then we can't do this without having an actual custom knife. This knife was made by hand by Phantom Steelworks. This has Chad Nichols' Nightmare Damascus. It has a very unique bronzing on the titanium with a lot of work on it with gold hardware. Nice little handmade knife. We're going to put that right here. And got to have a Protec in there, right? So with a hidden release. So we're going to open this little automatic knife here, and we have a rose-coated blade. Very unique blade there. Pretty cool. That's an automatic knife. And then we are going to add a mirror polished knife with a mirror polish to the blade. We're going to try really hard not to touch this blade right now. And we're going to put that down. We're going to add a butterfly knife done by BRS, just because what is a knife video without a butterfly knife, right? Especially a young man handing one, a man handing one to his mother for the first time. You can't really go wrong there. You know, you got to kind of be careful under camera of what you're doing. She should have seen how she just looked at me, guys. Okay, but we can't really do all this without having something else in here. And we are going to add a Grimsmo knife. And the reason we're going to add this Grimsmo knife is because it's done with a lot of modern CNC and EDM machines, and it's done all in-house to our brothers from the north in Canada at the Grimsmo factory, the two Grimsmo brothers, John and Eric. And these knives are made by them in that factory, and they really have some unique processes. This knife has seen a lot of different versions or a lot of tweaks as it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. One of those tweaks, actually, I have here. This one's really special, but we're not going to hold it on camera because I don't play with it a lot. But this one has the contoured handles, and this one was made during COVID. And so it's one of their special COVID knives. It even has their slightly different and very noticeable logo where you have the Viking guy logo, right? And then the one here that I'm holding actually has a gas mask. Pretty neat to kind of signify that time that we were in the COVID era. So that one's a really special one, but just so you can see the differences of the newer knives that they make, has more of the contours. And you can't do an EDC video without adding a pen. So I thought this would be fun to add. So we are going to be adding in this little guy, another little tool from the Grimsmo brothers. This is the Saga, a pen that is made by them and their factories with all that really unique tooling that we just spoke about. So we're going to add that guy to the area here, just to kind of throw her off, right? I thought that would be pretty fun. Now, before we have her do this, what we're going to quickly talk about is what pricing can do to differences, right? And so my mom can hear that. So number one, you have blade steel and the availability of knives, or the availability of the steels used in the knives. And this, what a lot of people, when they're talking about a blade and they're talking about the steel and what it does, and Dr. Laren Thomas from Knife Steel Nerds is one of this channel's favorite go-tos for that, or Dr. Steel as we coin him. When we talk about blade steel, you talk about hardness, ease of sharpening, edge retention, and corrosion resistance. Those are the four things usually talked about when talking about the quality of a steel, but also note that those things can change depending on heat treatments, tempering, overall quality of the billets. There's a lot of things that can happen from the forging process on with that. For most blade steel in question, again, we always send folks to Dr. Laren Thomas of www.knifesteelnerds.com. Whether you're inquiring on his unique materials, or you may hear a lot of stuff these days about maybe a steel called MagnaCut. Okay, if you're curious about what MagnaCut is, it's a steel that Dr. Laren Thomas himself has brought to the world so we can have that, and it's been used in everything. And like what we were talking about earlier, Rockwell hardness is something that really means a lot with that. Speaking of MagnaCut, we have a MagnaCut blade right here. This is the new Sabenza 31 by Chris Reeves Knives, or CRK, and this is sporting a MagnaCut blade. And again, MagnaCut was something that was done by Dr. Laren Thomas. This knife will have a full review on the channel soon, so we will not be including it in today's, but we'll just pop it there for a little bit. What else can make a knife more expensive? Well, we talked about, with the Grimsmo knife here, CNC machines, EDM wire machines, hand forging, heat treatments, grinding, sanding, polishing by hand, by machine. Folks, you got to remember, time is money, especially these days, right? With inflation just kicking everybody in the teeth. So precision is not easy. Prototyping is a process. That's another thing to remember when you're talking about overall pricing. Well, you also have the treatments of blades. And what do I mean by that? Hand rub satin, mirror polish, as we talked about in this little ProTech guy right here, okay? You have all of that. You have PVD, you have bead blasting, you have Teflon coated, Cerakote coat, stonewash. I mean, this can go on and on, not to mention, let's see if I can find it here, bronzing or other type of chroming processes like you see in this ProTech knife here. So these are all something to think about, again, when you're talking about prices. You also have geometry, right? We talked about the integral knife here. I mean, imagine the amount of engineering and machine work that goes into that. You also have exotic handles, right? You have thumb studs, pocket clips, backspacers, standoffs, pivot collar materials. And those materials can range as such as Damascus, Damasteel, which again is the corrosion resistance trademark form of Damascus. You have Timascus, which is the trademark name developed by master bladesmiths Tom Ferry, Bill and Chuck Bybee. Another name for forged or pattern welded titanium is also called Mokutai. But the exotics continue and continue. You can have abalone shell, mokumegane or mokume, which is a Japanese metalworking process, which is done to resemble wood grain metal. And that's been around since the 17th century. It was first developed by Master Denai Shiomi. Forgive me, my Japanese brothers and sisters, or anyone who speaks that lovely language. I'm sure that my mom can say that my barbarian tongue butchered that, right, Mom?
Oh, I think you did pretty well, in my opinion.
That's mom's for you, right? At any rate, you can have mammoth molar, mammoth tooth. That's another material. You can choose to go interstellar. How about meteorite? You can get meteorite. Then you have another long list of materials such as thunderstorm Kevlar, one of my favorites, zirconium. The list goes on, getting you to the more budget options, right? Like aluminum, G10, stainless steel. Even carbon fiber is starting to become more budgety these days. You have micarta, C-Tech, you have bone, you have antlers from deer and other deer-like mammals. The list, again, goes on. And then you have to create these, work with designers, right? You have to sculpt them, machine them, the tolerances, the geometry. All of this can raise the price of a knife or a tool very quickly. And that doesn't even get into opening materials, right? Like Teflon washers, ball bearings, or the bearings steel or ceramic, like phosphor bronze washers. The different ways to cage the bearings if you go the bearing route. Or you can find some really neat makers, right? Like, for instance, Mr. Hinderer with his tri-way replacement kits on some of his new knives that can give you the option to choose how your knife is going to open. Pretty darn cool. Mom, did you retain much of that?
Some.
Does it seem like there's a lot of things that can make pricing different on a knife?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. I think we're doing pretty good. I think now is the time to let Mom sit down and pop these in the order.
Pop them in order? Okay.
Well, what were you talking about? You were doing this.
There's a whole lot of them.
Oh, yeah. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All you got to do is just pick them up one at a time real quick. Feel free to open or close them,
Okay.
and just pop them down in the order that you think. From start, you can kind of see where the camera goes, and put the most expensive ones, like do like this, because there's not. You'll figure it out. Why don't we switch chairs?
Okay.
All right, let's start on the very end there.
On the very end.
Yep. So just kind of keep your hands in this area, pick the knife up. Yep. And then let me see it real quick. So what you'll want to do on this knife is hold it tight, and you push this button, the little pearl button, and it will fly open.
Beautiful.
To close it, you push the button again, and then you let the button go,
Okay.
and then you close it.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
You don't have to open it if you don't want to.
All right.
But if you do open it, try to have your hand in the, there you go. Perfect.
Yes, this is very heavy. It's a very heavy knife.
Okay. Careful. Oh, there you go. Oh, that was smart.
With that said,
What do you think of the blade? Do you see the mirror polish?
I do. I think it's beautiful. I think it seems like it's got a good weight to it, and then it also has a good length on the blade.
Okay.
I also want to say that it's got a good handle for you too. It holds in my hand quite well.
Perfect. That's a pretty big knife. I love that. Do you love the button? It's made of mother of pearl.
Oh, it is beautiful. It is a beautiful knife.
Cool. You can just put it down for now, and then what we'll do is come back and I'll have you do them all. The next one up in line is the little pink one there. Now this one I'll show you opens up very uniquely.
That rose blade.
So again, you can actually hold the knife here again, but you take your thumb. You see that? It's like a secret way to open.
That way.
Yep.
Okay.
So you just you can kind of see it in this.
It
this
slides.
Way. Yep. It's like a slide. So I can hand it to you open if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that.
So and this one, yeah, it's a lot lighter. Fits in the hand good. I don't know about somebody that might have way bigger hands than me, but yeah.
What do you think of the rose-colored blade?
I like it.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I haven't. It almost,
Very
it gives
unique.
it a very unique look.
You got it?
I think
Look at
so.
you. You're a pro.
We'll
This
go that
next
far.
knife is a custom-made knife. So this knife was made by hand.
Okay.
By a gentleman that is unfortunately, as of right now, not making knives right now, but hopefully
Okay.
he will start again soon.
Yeah. This is a very nice knife.
Now, the blade steel was made by someone else. There's a really popular guy named Chad Nichols who has just really done great for forging altogether. He's invented and really made a lot of unique ways for us to enjoy a lot of knives these days.
Yeah, it's heavy, but it's got, with the handle having,
All the cutouts.
yeah, it's got a good grip.
Okay.
And I think,
What do you
yeah.
think of the way the blade looks?
I love it. I really do. Yeah, it's got a big point here. But yeah, no, it is. It's it's very thick.
It's a big knife. It was made for big
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
So on this one, to close it, what you do is you push back that area there.
Oh, okay.
And then once you get past a certain
This
point.
is why people go in the ER. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. There you have it.
This
Okay.
next knife is a very popular knife, but they sent it out to a company in Alaska to have them kind of make it, they choose a number of them, so this knife is numbered.
Okay.
And it's a Benchmade bug out that's been done by, forgive me folks again, Northwest Knives up in Alaska, and Professor will redo that, but they did a great job with hand doing these and to making them all pretty unique.
Yeah, this is nice. It's very light. It's something that you could, get away with having just in your pocket.
Yep.
The design is beautiful. It does have some nice artwork there, outer space, which that's what the blade itself looks like, is the stars.
I don't know the young lady's name at the top of my head, but I actually watched videos of her doing some of the painting and spraying, and
Okay.
it was just so, even though they're all
Yeah.
the same design, they're all a little bit unique just because they have to be hand done. To close this knife, you pull that little guy down. Yep.
Okay.
And then,
So what is this blade made out of? It almost feels like a,
so that's either
Ceramic
Cerakote or
or some-
PVD or something like that. They use
Okay.
a special coating to coat the blade to help it with resistance to corrosion, to change its aesthetic appearance, things like that.
okay, very nice.
So this next knife, I've kind of ruined this knife a little bit on purpose, and we're going to fix it on the channel one day.
Okay.
But this is a Timascus on one side. It's a you can use your little rag to wipe it.
Yeah.
And then the blade, I was going to show how to fix a blade, and we're going to have a whole video come out for that. So the blade, I wouldn't worry about. I've ruined it. I've taken some steel wool to it.
Okay. This one, the handle isn't so good.
Okay.
You don't get a very good grip. That's what I think my biggest.
So this one's designed differently. You notice how the blade is very straight. So
yeah.
this one's designed kind of like a box cutter.
Yeah.
So where it's
Okay.
more used for utilitarian cuts.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
So when you're holding this, you notice it's got a lot of jimping on the spine here. You're normally going to hold it this way and
Oh, I
make cuts
see.
like this.
Or your
It's-
steak dinner, people. If you're out
Exactly.
camping, there
Exactly.
you have it. All right, have no.
Now again, that's the frame lock one.
So you're gonna go this
nope,
way.
careful.
Nope.
What you'll do is, see how the frame right there is cut?
Yeah.
They cut that, heat it up so it pushes forward. So we're just going to push that back so it allows the
Okay,
knife.
make
And you're
it
probably right.
close.
That's probably how a lot of people get cut.
Yeah.
This next one is that integral one where if you notice all these knives are sandwiched. So they sandwich them together.
Good.
But that
yeah,
one is
but this
one
one you
solid
were
piece.
saying, yes. So this one here, yeah, this is kind of clumsy in your hand because of the clip on the
Okay.
side.
They actually call that, there's a name for that. They call that pocket clip hot spotting,
Okay.
where it
Yeah.
messes with your ergonomics.
Yeah, it's like you can't really get that great grip
Yep.
because of it. It sticks out very far.
That is a very good observation, actually.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you on that one.
Yeah, but the blade is beautiful and it's thick on top.
Yep,
It looks very
thick
sturdy.
spine. Yep.
Yes.
That actually does strengthen the blade quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a sharp looking knife. You can see
Your nails
it's
are
kinda
cute
nice.
today.
Okay. Yes, thank you, John.
The look my mother just gave me, folks, was
Well,
absolutely terrible.
okay.
Yep. Again, the frame lock, you got to kind
Okay,
of push it one
push
way.
it out. You got to be
and then-
strong.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of the icky
The
part about
little
it.
old lady doesn't quite make it there.
Now this one, so this one's got the Damasteel blade.
Yeah,
So-
this is a sharp looking knife. And And this one, again, really, I like the handle. The handle has got a very sleek.
And the reason that it has this little circle here is for you to actually move your hand up one more
So you
notch for
can.
finer cutting.
Okay.
So if you're whittling or if you're doing any really fine work, you can get more control over the blade.
Yeah, no, this is very nice. It's a beautiful blade, very shiny, and it's got a nice, you can see a nice,
Pattern.
yeah, I can't get it in the thing for you guys.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Oh no,
Maybe
you're
there.
doing great.
Maybe, okay, yeah. Very nice, very nice. And this one here.
Same thing, that frame lock that we talked
frame
about.
lock, you push it over the other way.
Yep, you push it the other way.
Okay.
You gotta, yep.
Okay,
Nope.
good.
You usually want to
I'm
use
gonna
your
let
thumb.
you do that there, buddy.
And you just kind of get in there.
Okay.
And just till it starts shutting. That's where
Okay.
people screw up, because then they, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They want to keep holding their hand there for some reason. Now notice on the clip on this one, it has a little ball to run in and out of your pocket, so it's not tearing your pants up.
Oh, very nice, yes. And it's got a design on just one side of the handle, not the other.
They call that the show side. Yep.
Very nice. This one, way heavy, very heavy knife.
This
Is
was
the
my
one that-
first expensive knife that got me into
Yeah,
doing
that's what you were
this.
saying. And what is this made out of? Is
Well,
it-
the blade is made out of a material called M390. It's
Mm-hmm.
a powdered metallurgy blade. The handle is titanium, but it
Okay.
has an inlay, as you can see on the show side
Yeah,
again, of carbon fiber. And the backspacer is also titanium. So it's a lot of titanium, which is why it feels so heavy.
yeah, very nice though, but it feels very sturdy.
Oh, it
It doesn't
and you got to be
move
careful.
at
Oh
all.
yeah, that knife has been used like you wouldn't believe.
It's got some good,
Jimping is what they call that.
yeah, on both the bottom and on the top here. Oh, okay, there you go. See that?
Now that one is a frame one, but you should be able to, since I've used that so much, that should move a lot easier for you if you
So
want to
you
try to
just
close that one.
go-
Just shove, yep.
Yep,
Yep.
there you go.
And that one will close really quickly.
Very
so
nice.
be
Yeah, the
careful.
hinge on it is nice and loose.
They call that free falling.
Okay, and this one?
This is
a
one that we
little
just
guy.
opened today, one of the three.
Yeah. Yeah. Another. Yeah. So here, you've got your finger indentation right there, but the clip is very high up,
Yep.
so it gets in your way.
Yep. So that's a
Yeah.
really interesting thing we were talking about when we opened it.
Yeah.
So most pocket clips, when you put it, most people are
Yeah,
right-handed.
the other
I hate
way.
to say it, but it's true, and we have some left-handers in our family. But so for the most part, when you see a clip, it's going to be right-hand tip up. So it's in your right pocket, the tip is up, so when you take it out, you naturally can just open the knife.
Okay. Yeah. Just like yeah. Yeah. But this is nice. I mean, it's a nice little. This would be a nice knife to just carry around.
Okay.
To open boxes or
Yeah.
break them down or whatever.
Absolutely. That's
Yes.
kind of tight,
So,
new. Do you want me to close it?
yeah, I think I got
Oh,
it.
you got it. Look at you
There
rolling.
go. All right.
And this
This
is
is
an-
what I would, yeah, okay.
we got another one next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is that assisted one. Remember, you got to pull that button down
Yes.
and hold it down.
And then go like that.
There you go. And you can feel a spring wants to help
Mm-hmm.
you there.
Yeah, very nice grip.
Now this is a buck knife. You've
Yeah,
probably
this
heard your
is-
husband talk about
Yeah,
buck.
well, and yeah, I know these are for hunting. They come in very handy if you get kill out there, the deer.
If you get
and-
one, yeah.
Yeah, the deer.
If you're lucky enough to get
If
one.
you're, yeah, not so much like my husband. But
Oh,
yeah.
stop. I love it.
But no, this is nice. I like it. I like the color. It's that army green.
Yeah. Olive green.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a nice little shine to it.
Yeah, very nice. What I like about it is it does have a nice long blade
Yeah.
on it. So there you go.
Careful now. There you go. Beautiful.
There.
This is one of Professor's pocket knives.
Yeah, very nice. So this one's got a good grip with
Feel
all the,
comfortable?
yeah, very much so. And what's nice is this clip
Mm-hmm.
isn't sticking into your hand. And I don't feel it as much.
Zero tolerance is usually does a really good job at where
Yeah,
they
this is a
position their
nice
stuff.
knife.
And this knife was actually designed by a pretty famous knife person who has done a lot of really great in the community.
Yeah, I like the grip. It's got a nice grip. I think you wouldn't lose it, if you're
Correct.
busy doing something.
It's always
Is this
nice to
also
have-
a buck knife?
Nope,
Somewhat of?
that's zero tolerance.
Okay.
And that's a Rexford
okay.
design. So in this one, and that steel's pretty different too. It's called Elmax.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very soft. It's nice. That's a nice knife.
Yeah, perfect.
Another little. Oh, so this is light. The handle.
Yeah, very light. So that is either like a C-Tech type material or another polymer that's very lightweight.
Yeah.
They've come a long way in making lightweight polymers.
Yeah.
This is done by by Gerber, who's a pretty well-known company.
Yeah, it's got a very nice blade. I mean, it's nice and long. So yeah, I like this one for being such a littler knife.
That one kind of feels good for you.
Good grip, yeah.
Love it.
Good grip. Yeah, your hand can get around it.
Now this
Very
one
nicely.
sort of closes like a frame lock, but but it's not on the actual frame, so it's inside there. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the butterfly knife, you kind of were.
Yes.
Before
So, butterfly knife has got a nice, good lock on it for safety, and it's very tight. Yeah, it's very long and a little awkward in my hand to hold.
It's definitely not an
Yeah.
EDC knife. It's
Yeah,
not
I'm not
something that
quite
you'll
sure.
carry around every day unless you're an expert.
Right.
And you have the legal okay, or it's
Right.
legal in your state. They get a really bad rep, and knives in general get a bad rep, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we hope people will start trying to get these knife laws changed or ratified.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's a nice. The handle's long, not too awkward,
Okay,
I guess, and the blade is very thick, very sturdy.
cool,
So yeah,
awesome.
and then I will close
There
that.
you go. Love it.
Here,
Beautiful. And then you have a pen.
a pen.
Actually, why don't you check the knife out first?
Okay.
We'll finish
That
with the
pen
knife.
was heavy. This is a. I was watching this earlier. This is kind of a cool knife.
Now you got to be very careful when that knife shuts.
Okay.
Those knives are made with very, very precision machining, and so that blade shuts like a guillotine.
Okay. Yeah, this is a different type of knife. I mean, obviously with the front, how it.
I really love.
It's like you got a knife here and a knife here to cut.
Yeah, yep. It's
Two
kind of
different.
like a modified type of Tonto knife, and you can even see the CNC machine lines in this.
Yeah.
The two brothers that invented and run this company live in Canada, and I've actually been fortunate enough to talk to John several times, and with the other knife you've seen earlier, he actually did me a solid with sending me that during COVID, and he's just a sweetheart.
Yeah.
They're a wonderful family. I can't say enough good things about them.
No, this is a very nice knife. Yeah, I think. It holds very well. The blade isn't. It's big, but it's not bigger than the handle, so it doesn't feel awkward or like it's off
The
balance.
balance is really nice
Right,
on that knife.
yeah.
They just do such a good job.
Yeah. That is a very nice knife. And then here is a
That's
pen.
a knife a pen by the same company. So it's made with the same materials as the knife. It uses the bearings that they get. It uses, so this is really interesting how this works. It's
Yeah.
a fidget knife. So you pull that collar down like that. You see that?
Okay.
Try that a couple
Yeah.
times. So he uses ball bearings in there. So it's nice and secure and it's kind of fun to play with. You can sit and just kind of pop, 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 pop.
It's a very heavy pen.
Yep, it's made out of titanium.
Yeah, it's very heavy. So yes. So there you have it.
Okay, so now, without further ado, take a moment and pop these in order of what you think they're worth from highest price to lowest price.
So highest here, lower here.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you can do the highest ones, maybe the highest two here, and then try to get everything into the...
Okay.
You can even put one here, as you can see. Well, kind of.
Okay.
Do the best you can with the... with this.
But lowest is here.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. This guy. So I'm going to put the two that I think is most expensive there. That's what I think.
I'm actually really blown away because you did a really good job.
Okay.
I don't have all the pricing in front of me right now. So what I'll do is we're going to we'll have Professor take a shot of this. But what I will say is you are on the right track like you wouldn't believe. So these two are definitely two of the most expensive. Now, the pen isn't...
Oh,
do you want to try to place the pen?
No, I
real
didn't
quick?
know I was supposed
Yep,
to.
place the pen. I'll give you a second.
All right, so I would think...
And which one of these did you think were more expensive?
I want to say I think that is,
Okay.
and then that, and then I would probably, I'm going to put this pen in between these two.
It's pretty damn good. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually going to be, I'm going to go through this obviously, and I'll send you a picture of both of these and then get a text message from you at how well you did. But I can tell you right now, you did really well. This is correct for sure. This one would go on the other side.
Okay.
But then it's going to be a toss-up when I get to the pricing. This is the most expensive knife because it's hand done.
Okay.
Okay. This knife's about $2,000.
It's beautiful. It is a beautiful knife.
And when it was new, honestly, when it was built for the gentleman that bought it at first, it was probably more along the lines of $1,000 to $1,200. But obviously, pricing has gone up. They're no longer in business anymore. So, depending on the buyer, it's probably worth between that $1,200 and $2,000. This knife was the first time I ever spent $1,000 on a knife. They've since come down a little bit and then back up as John and Eric have kind of revamped everything. But they're generally around between $800 and $1,200.
And I would say, I know that they have beautiful blades. I understand that, and the balance on them is really good, but it's the grips.
Love it.
The grips are very important.
Well, then I should let you
Yeah.
hold this just for video's sake to hold one more of their tools here. So this is a newer version of this. You can feel that the handle's more rounded now. So they've kind of went with what they call a contour. It hasn't really been open much, so I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's never cut anything.
so with these knives, what I like about them is they are like a 2-in-1.
Right. They've kind of got that
So
tanto
you
look, but
could,
a rounded tanto.
Yes.
It's a really unique blade shape.
They're very comfortable. Even, in my hands filled with arthritis and old, they are good.
Yeah, they do a really
They got a
good
great
job.
grip. Yeah, I think that, and I do think that that's important so that you
Careful
don't.
again, those things are like
Yeah,
guillotines.
and it is nice. Yes, very nice.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, Mom, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for coming on. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
I know you were nervous.
I watch them all and all of your videos, and they're good and they're very, very educational.
I think you're the only one watching them, but that's okay.
I don't think so. I read all your reviews on it and the questions that people ask. So I think this is very good. It's a nice collection.
Yeah, I would be honest, I'll go through pricing, but you did really darn good. I can't.
Well, thank you.
This knife will go down a little bit. This knife might go down a little, but I mean,
Yeah.
all this is right in there. It's
Yeah,
literally right in. These
To
are.
be honest with you, I don't know anything about a knife unless you're a sharp knife or a
And that's okay. So real
butter
quick,
knife.
while I have you, where do you think you haven't handled this guy?
No.
This is so the guy who made this knife, he actually
this is
invented
sleek.
this frame lock that you keep seeing over and over. This is called the Chris
Oh, he
Reeve
invented
Integral
it?
Frame Lock, and he, instead of licensing it for himself, he thought it'd be nice to let the whole knife world have it.
Yeah, that is very kind. It's a good mechanism.
It shows what type of person he is, and he's been doing this for a long time.
That is a very sleek.
It has African, I forget the name of the wood inlaid in it. That's going to be on the channel really soon.
Okay, yeah, I like this knife. This is nice too, and it's heavy, it's sturdy, but it's not like so heavy that
So
you
if
can't
you had to
handle
point
it.
where you think that one would go, where do you think you'd put
This
that?
one?
Yep. Show it in the video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Here. Here?
Right before that one.
Really?
No, before.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
So to have
So
one of
those
those
are your three most expensive.
no, there's just the most very expensive on the table.
Right, that's what I mean. Up
Oh
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, your son has knives that are.
I know you are a knife guy. I get it. And I love that you do this for everybody. It does kind of do it. So which one will you bury?
None of these. So this wasn't that video.
Oh,
Well, we
okay.
don't know. So, for instance, I haven't done videos on any of these.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think.
So you have to go through.
No, we really haven't. So none of these have been
Nice.
done on a carryorbury video. They all will be eventually.
Okay.
So I don't know if one will get buried.
Okay.
But the ones that are going to be coming up are we're going to have our US thing where Professor is going to do just what you did with the knife pricing,
Okay.
but on US made only knives. So that will be we're filming that later in the week.
Okay.
And then we're going to have another one where we talk about the 3 Menards knives that we just purchased.
All right. Well, Prophet, you're my little daddy Warbucks.
There it is.
So,
Oh, that was the
told ya
name.
I would.
What was it, Mom?
Daddy Warbucks.
Daddy Warbucks. I
Yes,
can recall over and over times growing up where you would call me that. That's
So-
what it was.
So no, it's a beautiful, beautiful collection.
Oh gosh, you haven't seen the collection.
Wow.
But,
I like this.
we don't
This
have
is nice.
enough days in the week to go through the whole collection.
I understand. There's some really awesome knives.
Okay, well, we thank you so much. Oh, I love you.
Thank you. I
God
love
bless
you
you.
too,
Thank you for your
honey.
time. But thank you for coming, Mother.
You're welcome, Prophet.
There you go. Okay,
Son.
bud. Son's fine too. And folks, just so you know, I don't know what Professor will pop in, but for anonymity purposes, we don't use our real names. And my mother is struggling with calling me my nickname for some reason.
Yes, Prophet. I never call you that.
I know
I'm
you
sorry.
don't. It's actually kind of weird to hear you call me
you
it.
son.
Yeah,
Yes.
Son, or my
Yeah.
real name, right?
But thank you.
Or
Thank
pain
you
in
for
your-
having
pain in
me.
your end.
This was very interesting, very educational.
Well,
I hope you're all learning something out there as well as I did.
And thank you for your kind words. Okay, folks. So I would like to thank my mom for being here. It was wonderful to have her in the studio here. Even better to have her on the compound. Even neater to have her go over her knife picks here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a minute and go over her picks. We're going to give it a break after we talk about these knives so you can kind of see a little bit more in our price shopping on the knives. But let's start off here. My mom had correctly chosen the first knife here. And that first knife is the Guidesman Essential Suppressor 2. It has 8CR steel. The price for this knife is $11.99. And for a lady who doesn't see knives very often, but maybe sees the danger that they can inflict when handled improperly, she got that one spot on. Great job, Mom. We're going to just put this little guy here for a moment because we're going to come back to it here shortly. Did she get the second one correct? Yeah, she did. So this here is the Gerber Sage, and this has 7CR steel. And she did correctly get this one right as well. So the price on this knife was $29.98. Again, we're going to put that up here because we're going to come back to it. Interesting enough, she thought that the next one up was a Moku tie. This little guy is the QSP Penguin, and it's just full of all kinds of oils. Moku tie can really get dirty quickly, and honestly, it takes Windex to make it look nice, so I'm not going to go grab Windex, but what we'll do is we'll kind of give it a brief flash under all the crazy lights here just so you can kind of see what we're dealing with. At any rate, the blade on this, we are going to be doing an experiment on later. This was the knife that she chose as third. Now, interesting enough, she chose this over the Buck Hexam Assist. Now, the Buck Hexam Assist is the third from the ground. This knife retails for $44.99 from Menards today, and this has 7CR steel as well as the Gerber Sage. We're going to put those three aside for a moment. Now, so she got one wrong, but honestly, the funny part is the QSP Penguin with the Moku tie and the purple titanium, even with this S35VN blade, they're about $260 to $275 online. and depending on where you go. We're going to call it $275 just to call it something on the higher end of what I found here. But this knife will be fourth. So honestly, Mom, when you're watching this later, bravo. Bravo. So we're going to put the QSP right there because that's where it goes. My mom's next pick, as you can see here, is going to be the ProTech knives. And this particular knife here is actually not correct. So this knife that we're looking at is the ProTech Magic Whiskers, okay? And this one has the rose gold accents with the 154 cm blade stock. And it is, I believe it's the BR1RG possibly. It might be the actual ProTech model number. And it does have the hidden release right here. We will have a video on this knife down the road, but that's what it is. So this is the knife that my mom had next. What is the actual knife? Well, that's going to be a surprise to I think a lot of you. That's going to be this Zero Tolerance 0801 titanium and LMAX. This is a Rexford design. These are discontinued, which blows my mind because they're fantastic knives. Just fantastic with a great blade steel. And this is Professor's work knife, and it is in wonderful shape. It runs on ball bearings. It's by Zero Tolerance, titanium, beautiful little frame lock there. It's got all kinds of goodies that you want to see. Now, this knife is going to retail right now roughly for about $295. So about $20 more than the QSP. Now remember though, it's a discontinued knife. That's what I found on new ones, third party. That's what I could find. So now, as you know, the Whiskers is what she thought was going to be before that. So we'll just put that aside for now. The next knife that my mom had up here was the Benchmade. And this little guy right here. So this is the Benchmade Far Out Bug Out 535 by Colorful Filth and Northern Knives. Is that the next knife on the list? It's not, Mom, but that's okay. Again, you did a really darn good job. A lot of these knives are right in the same price neighborhood, and I was really just kind of interested to see where you'd put things. The actual knife on this is going to be an integral knife here. The BRS Evolve Eon. This is an integral titanium handle, okay, and this does actually have an M390 blade. It's a great little knife. It's very, very nice. It's, if you're looking for an integral knife, sub $300, or I'm sorry, sub $350, you found it. Retail on this guy again, $325. Okay, so we're going to put the Benchmade out here for a moment. Well, we'll kind of keep them in order, I suppose, at what she was thinking. Okay, so what's next, you ask? Well, that is going to be the Ferrum Forge Archbishop 2.0 Pro. This was purchased in 2018. I believe this was either their first or second run of this guy. This was a USA-made knife. This was done by the guys at their factory, to my understanding. I could be wrong on that. Somebody may point me out as wrong on that. I don't see USA anywhere on the blade or on the handle. But to my understanding is that Elliot and the guys were still making them there in the shop. I'm not quite sure though. I'm sure someone with more knowledge than me will help me. Retailing this guy about $350 at the time, back in 2018. So we're going to kind of move everything down a little bit here so we can still see where my mom had everything. Okay, so is the Whiskers finally next? It is. So again, Mom, you were not too far off. I'm super proud of you. Here is the Whiskers. Okay, pretty neat there. So, and we've all looked at this one, hidden release, rose gold. The price on these Whiskers right now, well, anytime that you can find one, they're about $365, right around $365 USD. So what's next? Is the Benchmade next on the list? It is not. Another really big, probably tough one is my mom had this beautiful guy, this Reich Knives 1902 NFC with Damas steel and carbon fiber inlays with the red. Really beautiful knife, honestly. She had this one here at the far end. However, we are going to place it right next to the Whiskers. Now again, this is the Reich Knives 190 NFC. This one is in Damas steel, And I don't know if you can remember, folks, but Damasteel is actually the corrosion resistant form of Damascus, and it is something that is trademarked out there. So we're going to put that down here, and the price on this guy is about $385. About $385. Okay, so let's see here. Are we finally going to have the bug out home? Not quite, Mom. Not quite. I know this little guy's a surprise, right? We are going to actually have our first pen. So you're only a couple places off. The Grimsmo Saga. This one is a low serial number Saga. So these ones are about 400, 405. We're going to place it again on that upper end, 405. Grimsmo Saga pen, $405 USD. We've got just a couple knives left. Let's get through them real quick. Our next knife, is it going to be the Benchmade finally? It's not. My goodness, Mom. That was the hardest one for you, I think. I think the other ones you were within a couple, except for maybe the Reich. This beautiful compound mirrored edge ProTech SNG Auto. Woof. This is a beautiful knife. I love everything about this knife. I know it looks like it's two pieces of aluminum here, but it's not. This top is a very compound or compact layer of black markita. Does have the mother of pearl inlay on the fire button here. Absolutely gorgeous with the sterling surrounding. And then it has the compound mirror polished blade, which I need to actually get some polishing on there. It's been sitting for a while. These were going to cost you about $450 if you can find them. If you can find them. And guess what, Mom? We do. You did. This little guy was probably the hardest one for you, and it definitely got away from you. The Benchmade Bug Out 535 Far Out version, done by Colorful Filth in Northern Knives. These are all serial numbered. They're very, very neat. They're beautiful. It took a team to get these together. You're going to have a really interesting, different look to this bug out over other bug outs, where obviously you have the titanium on both sides. You have the gold anodization, the dual gold thumb studs. You have the beautiful blade Cerakote. You have the handle Cerakote with the wonderful space theme going on there. My number is 265. And the blade on these is S30V, nice powdered metallurgy steel. Now, I see these as high as $800 right now, and I cannot remember for the life of me what I bought it for. So I just kind of took the completed listings from what I can find on the third party, and I went on the lower end just because I know I didn't pay that much for it. I know these have gone up quite a bit, but I didn't pay $800 for it. I'm going to call it, for the sake of this video, $475. That's kind of the low range of what they've been selling for. So we've got $475 for this wonderful little Far Out Bug Out. And next, you're darn near on. Now I know that you had the Reiki here ahead of this, but the place of this is actually perfect. This is the BRS Alpha Beast Balisong. I don't remember if this is going to be the first version, second version, the 2.0. I know it's not the 3.0. So, and I actually, I paid $495 for this. I know they're quite a bit up there now over that, especially one like this that has never been really flipped very much, and it also has never been used in the blade. I thought the blade on this was M390, but all the research I'm doing shows me that it's not. I believe it said 154 cm. I could be wrong. I for whatever reason in my head, I thought that when I was buying this, it was an M390 blade, but I don't think that's correct. And it's not marked. So we're going to put that down. Again, Alpha Beast by BRS. As you remember, this was a BRS knife as well. Pretty cool. So we had this BRS knife down at the $325 range. We had this wonderful BRS model about the $500 range. We're going to call it $495. So we were within, in this whole area, between $275 and $495 USD and everything in between. Okay. So what about the last two? Mom, you nailed it. I mean, for someone who doesn't touch knives, for you to be able to pick these up and have an understanding of quality and the way that they felt and the way that they looked, that blows me away. You actually did a really good job. This is a lower serial number Grimsmo. As you know, I have another one that we are going to actually probably put on the channel soon. It was one of the COVID special editions. And this knife, for you to get one, especially a low serial number, it's It's going to be about $950. I do have an aftermarket thumb stud on this of Mokutai. Very, very pretty. Love it quite a bit. Nice little design there. So $950 on the Grimsmo. And finally, number 15. This is the Phantom Steelworks Custom Delirium. Now, this knife was sold, one like it was sold by Arizona Customs for $950 back in 2018. This is the last Delirium that was ever made by the company so far, which I believe would garner a little bit more, plus with inflation of pricing and obviously where we're at today, I'm going to call it around $1450 for this guy. We're going to call it $1450. And this does have the Chad Nichols Nightmare Damascus. But if you would like a hand-done knife of this size and caliber done these days, you're probably looking at about $1450 with the research I've done. So we're going to call it $1450. And we kind of are at the end of the mom's video. Oh, I did ask her a bonus while she was here. I asked her what she thought a newer Chris Reeves style. I believe we talked about the Sebenza 31 here. This is the newer Sebenza 31. And this one does have a few of the extras on it, okay? We've got the dual custom thumb studs on there. We do have the Madagascar ebony wood inlay. We also have the glass bead blast titanium and wood to help with scratches on this. So those do drive the price up a little bit on these. We're gonna be at about that $800 price point if you wanted to get one of these new with these specific variations. So you're about 800 USD on the large Sebenza 31 in this configuration. But you can get a large Sebenza 31 for around $600 to $650, depending on which of your local realtor you go on. It's gonna be the plain Jane version, but there's still absolutely, there's a reason why Chris Reeves Knives has been doing it as long as they have. As you can see, I do not have the rear lanyard on. I'm not really a big lanyard fan. In fact, I normally take my pocket clips off too, but we're going to be doing a review on this one very shortly, so I wanted to make sure that we had this ready. One of our wonderful subscribers, Dane, requested a review on this, which is why I went out and found one and why we are going to review it. I believe Dane asked for the small Sebenza. Sorry, bud, I was unable to find one that I liked as much as I like this, so I went this route, but it's going to be basically the same but a different size. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we do our review in a couple videos. So that was the kind of extra knife we talked to my mom about. Now, as I'm putting this stuff away a little bit here, kind of, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the trip, the budget trip. There's the nice little packaging that your Saga comes in if you're interested. There we go. I know that for many of you, one of the things that is most attractive about these guys that we went out shopping for is 100% gonna just be, hey, that's much more affordable, especially with the economy where it is. Brothers and sisters, I get it. It is 100%. I am not gonna argue. I am 100% gonna tell you that you're not only right, but can you get by with knives like this? I don't know. I'm gonna carry them. And as you know, if you've watched this channel at all, in the stuff that you've seen so far and the stuff that you know that I have in my collection, or you don't know, but you might have an idea, I don't have a lot of knives under 300, bucks. I just don't. It just wasn't what I was interested in when I started collecting. All, by the way, thank you to Ferrum Forge. What I can say, regardless of any or all of that, is one of the things that means a lot to me is going back to my roots. I used to carry knives. In fact, I have some knives that I'll show on the channel very soon that are near and dear to me that were the first knives that I ever purchased. In fact, I used to wear, when I was in a motorcycle club, I used to wear a huge 9-inch knife, a Becker actually, and I still have that knife, and it's a wonderful fixed blade knife. It's huge. I don't know what I was thinking as a younger man. Definitely wasn't needed for EDC. In fact, there's a smaller knife in the sheath. I'll show you one day on the channel. Again, we went into Menards with the idea to buy 3 knives under $100 USD. You like that? And we did. We bought all 3 of these for under $100 USD. This is the Guidesman Suppressor 2TM with 8CR steel, drop point blade. It is a folding frame lock for $11.99 US. We're gonna go ahead and pick this guy up as our low end guy here. I'll hand that to Professor. And our second knife that we are gonna be working with, folks, is gonna be this little beauty here. This is the Gerber Fuse. It is a 7CR steel plain edge knife, and this will be our middle knife. And for our high end, we'll be testing the Buck Hexam Assist 262 at $44.99 US. And I hand those to Professor here.
I'm struggling.
I see that, big guy. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties, folks. This will all be on the, this is gonna be, we're gonna put this on the channel for bloopers, I guess, Professor. As Professor sets these up for you folks, as you can see again, we have the Guidesman, our $11.99 knife, our Gerber Fuse, which is going to be coming in at our $29.99 knife, and the Buck Hexam Assist for $44.99 US. We are going to see what the difference is between these 3. Welcome back. For those of you that loved our little shopping video there, I know this has been a kind of a different video for you folks. I'm just going to give you my first impressions and then we'll call it a day. So my first impression on this guy, which again was the Guidesman Essential Suppressor 2 with 8CR steel. I don't know how it's going to hold up to how I use my knives. Obviously we have a skeletonized steel frame. We have a frame lock that the lock is already up more than 50%. For those of you who know what that is, it's already locking up well more than 50%. There's a good deal of lock stick. There is a even tougher, getting it out is really difficult with the flipper tab. I also am not a fan of the pocket clip, both in its position and how it carries. We'll see. I will carry it. I will give it its fair shot. Whether or not it will be something that ultimately gets buried, I don't know. I don't. We're going to give it a fair shake for its price point, right? Secondly, the one that feels a lot more surprising than I thought it would be this guy here, which is the Gerber Sage with 7CR steel. This is a $30 knife, $29.98 plus tax. Yes, it's CR7 steel. I get it, you know, but for what it is, for 25 bucks or 30 bucks, you know, you go in, you grab yourself a pocket knife. It feels ergonomic-ish, right? I mean, obviously for the money, I'm not expecting this to be anything insane. You know, you have the faux little sticker here that looks like it's, you know, it's aesthetically pleasing to me at least, and I like the color scheme. We'll see how it goes. I'm not a fan at all of assisted knives. Anyone who follows this channel knows that, but for what it is, I will give it a fair shake. I understand that these are more for gloved hands, for folks that are out hunting in the woods, totally get it, but is this steel gonna hold up? Is this, the way that this is set up, very small standoffs. You do have lining on the inside there, so I'm not sure exactly how deep that goes. We're gonna do a more deep dive into this and we'll give it a fair shake and we'll see how it goes. But again, we got the 3 knives for under 100 bucks. We had my mom on this episode, which was super amazing. Mom, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for everything. Obviously, you know, you probably can all tell at home, folks, I'm a big proponent of family, and I absolutely adore my mother. I adore my brothers and sisters. I adore my dad, who maybe he might not be my biological dad, but he's my dad, right? So again, I would always just like to say no to knife pirates. Check out Blade forums, check out Reddit, Facebook sites, social media groups, all that stuff. Like TRM, Tycoons Really Matter. You have a better shot getting a fair price on a really good knife or other EDC item that you're looking for, even if it isn't available, right? Remember, watch our 4th of July episode where we're going to have none other than the professor live here on the show. Any ideas from you folks, let me know. We kind of want to get a feel for how different generations, how different lifestyles are for holding knives, things like that. Again, all the knives that you've seen today will always appear on the channel at some point, right? If you haven't seen them already. This video in particular, nor any of our videos so far, have not been sponsored by anyone. Everything, our equipment, the knives are all paid for by us. So thank you all for any support, even if it's just liking and subscribing to our videos. With that being said, make sure that you follow us and check us out on all social media. Just search for @carryorbury, right? And look for our logo. Until next time, EDC family, keep those blades sharp, keep those flashlights charged, and if you're like me, keep those band-aids close. Remember, you are the best tool in your daily EDC loadout. May God bless you, and we will see you next time.